in terms of girl game, and this is game for the girls, is that to some degree you do want to sell purity, but you want to allow it to progress each time you meet the guy.
I say this on my show all the time. I was like, when a woman keeps telling you she won't sleep with you on the first date, and she just keeps bringing it up over and over again, you want to know why that is? It's because she slept with someone on the first date. You talked about the concept of women selling purity or telling you that they're celibate. Can you go over that?
Yeah, sometimes on dates you'll come across girls who will make it clear or very overt to you that, hey, my intentions tonight aren't sexual, or I've been in this phase of my life, so don't be expecting anything. And that tells me a few things. Like if they're celibate, two reasons. Either you're celibate because you weren't celibate for a long period of time, and now you're in a phase to where you kind of want to take a break from all the D you've been taking.
The epiphany phase that Rollo talks about. Yeah.
Exactly, especially older women, once 26, 27 plus, especially. Or two, you're just plain out lying. You're just trying to sell purity to me so that I can take you seriously because you see value in me, or in some type of way I position myself in the husband box, and for that reason, you don't see me as a fun time. And sometimes I'll put myself in this box by accident. Through conversation. If I'm too like invested into like her life or career or like what you want, like sometimes you can put yourself in that husband box, and for that reason a woman will kind of change her mind about you. So for the most part is has almost always been a lie once I get to know the girl, and I kind of do, we have conversations and I backtrack and I'm like, okay, you actually were not celibate throughout that time.
Yeah.
They just love selling purity to guys who they find very attractive, or they
Yeah.
want some sort of commitment from.
Sleeping with your ex apparently didn't count. That's what they were saying. Yeah, no, the selling purity thing I think is really interesting. When they say that they're celibate or something like that, or something to that effect. The other concept, the reason why I think it's really important for guys to understand this, to grasp this concept. I just finished Alan Roger Curry's one of his books yesterday or a couple days ago, and one of the things he talks about at the end is why men become misogynists. And I don't agree with everything Alan Roger Curry has to say, but I do agree with this very much so. It's not when a man gets rejected by a woman; it's when a man wastes his time believing that a woman is like sitting there, like she's selling purity. She's like, oh, you should just wait. We're not going to have sex on the first date, second date, third date. And then she becomes like his male girlfriend. And then he finds out that she did sleep with a guy the first time she met him while their friendship was going on. That's where the resentment actually comes. And if you don't understand this concept of women selling purity, you can put yourself into that trap.
Yeah, exactly. I have a few beliefs that might be controversial. The first one is that no girl is ever like truly single. They're always either talking to a guy, planning to meet up with a guy, currently sleeping with a guy, whether it be their ex or a past guy, or planning to sleep with a guy. Like no girl's like truly ever just chilling. And if they are, then it's purely by choice for the reasons that I mentioned before. But yeah, but also in terms of girl game, and this is game for the girls, is that to some degree you do want to sell purity, but you want to allow it to progress each time you meet the guy. So most guys are going to classify you as, a slut or easy if you sleep with him on the first date, or especially if it was really fast, like you guys talked for 20 minutes and then took you back to your place. Yes, and guys are going to think you're easy. However, if you let things physically escalate a little bit each date, so the first date, yeah, you guys hug with a kiss. Second date, you make out with some light touching. Third date, he gets close, some nipple play or something. Fourth date, you go all the way. And if girls would approach it more that way, the guy would still be able to get what they want, or it will be mutual. Both will get what they want, but also the guy will also respect the woman more, and for that reason, it will turn into something more fruitful. And that's personally something that also has happened to me and the girl who I'm seeing now, is that the progression happened very like that. I'm not sure if it was planned or it was probably strategic.
Yeah.
But the way she went about that was very, very, very good, and I applaud that for her because it definitely worked.
Yeah, and I talked to my girlfriend, and it was the third night that we were hanging out. But by the way, I was hosting a bikini competition in Cancun, and there were 70 girls competing. And it was the third night we hung out that we ended up, being together. And she told me, she's like, I wanted to on the first night, but I wasn't going to do that on the first night. So that's another thing that you find out is there genuine desire? I don't. Well, it's not a problem if a girl makes a guy wait 2 or 3 dates. It's just that if you're going to make me wait, but Chad and Tyrone don't wait. That's where I think a lot of girls don't see where the issue is, and a lot of guys don't recognize that you think you're a woman selling you purity, and it's her adaptation for you to believe she's pure. And she's not deliberately lying to be, malicious, but it's a situation where she's doing this so that you'll respect her more and find her more attractive. So it does, that whole thing does become very difficult. But I think the term I like, I've heard before is women break rules for alphas and make rules for betas. And if you don't recognize that as the case, then when it happens to you, you're going to be very upset. Like I can't think of anything that would probably make a guy more upset than that whole concept of like spending a bunch of time and money. And I'll give you one other thing. You mentioned before about leading with money. I live in a city, and so do you, where there's a lot of sugar babies. And I'll talk to a lot of these girls because I'm really interested in their mentality. And they'll always be ridiculing their sugar daddy. Always. Whenever I talk to them, they're making fun of their sugar daddy. There's something wrong. The guy falls short in some way or another. And then there's always another guy that they're sleeping with who isn't paying them. Those are the things that I've noticed is like when they're getting that guy who leads with money, there's always another guy who doesn't have to pay, who they're having sex with as well. And I just thought that was a really interesting concept. And if guys don't understand that, then what happens is you get led down this fairy tale path, and then those are the guys who get hurt the most.
Yeah. I've had scenarios where girls go out to these fancy dinner dates, restaurants, and I kid you not, they literally bring me the leftovers. I've been, the same night or they see me the next day, or one time this girl was on this yacht that she got invited to by this guy. They had a party, whatever, and then afterwards she went home, cleaned off, and came to me, and I haven't taken her out one time. So that's where I realized too is that it's just different rules for different guys, and the way that I go about my communication and how I frame it, I kind of position myself in that different guy zone because of my frame and the boundaries that I kind of set whenever I'm leading the interaction.
Like the guy who doesn't count. Is that what you mean? When you say different guy zone, what do you mean? I talk about the guy who doesn't count. Like she literally will not admit that you're on her body count, but she slept with you in Cancun. Like the guy who doesn't count.
That's definitely an aspect of it. And I'm sure I don't count list too.
Yes.
But I'm talking about the guy who doesn't even have to take her out on a date.
Yeah.
I've had many girls come right over the crib. But other guys, they have to take her out to dinner first. Yeah. Different rules for different guys.
Yeah, you'll know you're doing it right when you're sitting at home playing Red Dead Redemption and she leaves a dinner date to come over to your place and brings you food. I've definitely seen that before. Yeah. For sure.